Hey everybody, just got back from a brand new Reptile Expo. So this last weekend, there was a Reptile Expo going on here in Colorado, but we decided to kind of take a gamble as well as let's see if we can do some cool stuff in the reptile hobby. And we decided to go be a part of Mr. Critters LLC's first Reptile Expo out of Gillette, Wyoming. I know probably not too many people are super familiar with the state of Wyoming, and to be completely honest with you, contrary to what my partner says, I honestly did not remember anything to do with Gillette. And Gillette is pretty far away from like Cheyenne and Cody and Laramie, where a lot of people are probably more familiar with the state. Gillette is kind of further northeast. It's actually closer to like Rapid City, and some of the more northern states than they are to a lot of Wyoming. In fact, a lot of Cheyenne people say that the Loveland Show Me shows are actually closer to them than this Gillette show is going to be. However, this was a really interesting and cool show, especially for a first time show. I talked to a lot of Wyoming locals, and this was, as far as I can gather, at least in living memory, this is the first show for Wyoming, which is really, really cool. Mr. Critters LLC seemingly really, really cool. Very, very nice, very supportive. Very first show that they put on whatsoever. Vended a couple prior to that, but definitely needing to get feet wet for this one. So not to say that we're necessarily veterans of doing shows, but we have done probably a dozen or so over these past 4 or 5 years. And 3-4 years, I guess. And we kind of helped him kind of get the ball rolling on things, kind of helped him with the layout and the floor plan and things like that. Because there's stuff that if you're not involved in expos, you don't really think about, like, you know, emergency exits and the width that you need for the different aisles and dead space and stuff like that. But I think this was a very cool and pretty nice show. As you can see in the video that we're going here, because obviously we're just doing a quick little montage of a lot of the different vendors. It was quite a few vendors. It was something like 30-ish or so vendors from kind of all over the place. There were a few of us Colorado people there. There were people from Montana, obviously from Wyoming. There were a couple people from Idaho, and I think there were a couple from I know there were a couple from Rapid City as well. So definitely pulling from a lot of the smaller, but still definitely reptile community locations in this part of the country, which is really, really cool. And Mr. Critters did what I know a lot of people kind of complain about reptile expos that aren't like the big ones. So, you know, like the Daytona, the Anaheim, NARBC, and even Reptilian Nation shows. He put in a lot of effort and money into advertising. This was a really well advertised show, even for just a single day. It ran a pretty long day from 10 to 6 for the single day, but in that time period, there were over 2,500 people from all over the place. I don't think there were anybody as far as guests go from Colorado, but there were people from Wyoming, obviously, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, so that was really, really cool. I mean, as far as the selection you saw there, it was definitely pretty typical of a lot of reptile expos, so you saw a lot of ball pythons. There weren't that many lizards, actually. There was, I think, only 2 tables that had crested geckos, and one of those tables had both cresteds and leopard geckos, but a pretty good selection of them. Like, there was a black knight, and I think I saw some lily whites and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. You know, like Morph Mixology was there, Colorado Cold Bloods was there. You know, we were there in a corporation with my friends Beasties were there, so we had a really big spread as well. So we had, you know, boas, balls, colubrids, rainbow boas, sand boas, all sorts of fun stuff, gophers and bull snakes and things like that. So that was really, really cool. In addition, you get to see kind of a different type of keeper there. It's not to say that they're doing things differently. It's definitely a different subculture of America. You know, you can go, even in the state of Colorado, there's like 6 different varieties of Coloradans out there, from Fort Collins all the way down to, you know, Trinidad, and then the further west you go, it's different. The further east you go, it's different. Even where I'm at, it's a very kind of interesting place, even as far as like the rural area of Colorado goes. And that definitely goes with keepers of reptiles as well. So it was really cool to see an entire different group of keepers there, and it was really interesting to talk to a lot of them. We didn't do any education presentations just because of how long of a trip it was, just that single day show. We definitely wanted it. We just didn't have the ability to do so. But we did a lot of just kind of one-on-one education stuff. You know, there were a lot of people who didn't quite know about like the difference between a bull and a gopher snake, which is really cool to talk about. I know a lot of other people kind of got their first hands-on experience with reptiles in general. There were a couple people there that had a bigger boa and a couple ball pythons that people were letting hold and handle and take pictures of. I think Mr. Critters had a big Burmese python that unfortunately was in deep shed and didn't want to be moved. So I think that was something that he was really trying to do. Currently, the plan is for this Reptile Expo is to do another one later in October in Cheyenne, which is, I'm sure, going to be a much larger expo that we'll almost certainly be a part of, which will be really, really cool. And I just wanted to kind of highlight this really interesting little area that hasn't really had a whole lot of exposure, and people just kind of forget the wayside. Not only reptile keeping, just in general, people just kind of forget about this area of the country, that there are reptile keepers there, and clearly in some number too. You know, right now we all know that the reptile market or whatever is really tanking at the moment. You know, it always does. It does that. It does the little roller coaster. So nothing was really going for the prices that any of us really wanted, but it was really cool. I think every single vendor there did really well, saw some cool, unique animals, some really cool, unique setups, met a lot of really cool people, and just had a really fun time. And anybody in that area or that would want to make the drive out, I do recommend you check out Mr. Critters LLC. You can, I'll try to remember to put a link for their stuff down in the description of this video. Go check them out, and definitely consider maybe coming out to vend or attend this expo, because honestly, it was pretty fun. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you want to check out, I'm going to put this in the playlist of my reptile adventures. I know it's an expo, so it wasn't like a great adventure, but it was a fun road trip into an area that we don't really talk about with reptiles a whole lot. So if you want to check out any of the other reptile adventure videos, go check that out as well. It really helps when I click through rate. Please like, subscribe, check out Mr. Critters, check out any of the other vendors that you saw highlighted in today's video. Hope you're having a great day, and we will check you next time.